who is really the weakest link in this chain? In addition to Syria and Iraq, we see sectarianism as a general threat to the region in the Middle East. There is a standard message that we give to all actors and parties. Sectarian-based policies create no-win situation. All lose in sectarian struggles, including first and foremost those who favor these policies. Yemen is the most recent example pointing at such dangers. In both Yemen and Libya, what we need is political dialogue, meaningful political dialogue. We need political solutions based on the national compromise and consensus in both those two countries. Ladies and gentlemen, as a cornerstone of peace and stability, in the Middle East, Egypt is another potential risk for the region. Egypt is an important country for the Muslim world. Egypt is important for Middle East, and Egypt is very crucial country for not only Northern Africa, but for the whole continent. Egyptian leadership pushes those people they see as opposition underground and towards radicalism. Our concern is that if the current trend is left unchecked, a new and more violent social outburst in Egypt will be inevitable. Egypt's deep and structural problems can only be solved in a liberal and efficient political environment. Therefore, we encourage all parties to advocate the establishment of an inclusive political system in Egypt too. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, one cannot speak about the Middle East without touching upon the Palestinian issue, because it remains the core challenge in the region. And actually, we all know parameters of the solution. A state of Israel living side by side with an independent and sovereign state of Palestine on 1967 borders with East Jerusalem as its capital. Yet, despite the best and most sincere efforts of my dear friend, Secretary Kerry, the two-state solution is in a coma. You all know the recent Palestinian initiative regarding UN Security Council resolution to initiate a peace conference. Such a resolution would make the Israeli side sit down for serious negotiations for a two-state solution. Unfortunately, this initiative, like others trying to open the way to peace, failed at the United Nations Security Council. The main body responsible for protecting international peace and security once again proved incapable of performing its task. Dear guests, ladies and gentlemen, yes, the general picture in the Middle East is not very promising. But there are also reasons for being hopeful and to be optimistic as well. Look at the political process in Tunisia. This country shows us that a legitimate political solution is possible to the problems faced by the countries in transition. The Tunisian people deserve our full support and solidarity. We are also very pleased with the political understanding reached between the P5+1 and Iran in Lausanne. We always advocated diplomacy as the only possible option for a solution to the issue of Iran's nuclear program. That is why we hope that the ongoing negotiations result in a comprehensive agreement by the end of June this year. As always, we are ready to offer our active support to the process. We also hope that a final and satisfactory solution to the nuclear issue might motivate our Iranian neighbors and brothers to facilitate the resolution of other regional problems. In short, our approach in the Middle East is based on finding comprehensive, political, and inclusive solutions. So let me put what we imagine into a picture. a secure and stable Middle East, where the energy and trade routes interconnected East Mediterranean resources to all directions, a region which no longer makes the headlines with death tolls, but rather with cooperation projects and success stories. Turkey is doing its part to invest in a common future in the region. We are putting a lot of efforts in increasing and liberalizing trade, lifting visas, expanding investments in the region. On the humanitarian side, being the third largest donor in humanitarian aid in the world, we continue to extend our helping hand throughout the region. We are trying to ease the pains not only in Syria, but also in Iraq and Palestine. In Iraq, we are among the first to come to the help by sending 750 trucks containing food kits, tents, bedding, blankets, medicines, and medical equipment. Our official humanitarian assistance to Gaza only last year is more than $19 million. And we will continue to work for a better future for everyone in the Middle East. Ladies and gentlemen, dear guests, I know our topic is Middle East, but speaking as the Turkish Foreign Minister in Washington, I will not be doing my job in full if I don't mention two other issues. Two issues which have created mistrust and confrontation in our region for a long time. First, Cyprus. We have a window of opportunity to find a political settlement to a problem that has been with us for more than 50 years. And we believe 2015 will be an important year for the settlement of the Cyprus issue. Our commitment for a solution is as strong as ever. We expect the negotiations to resume very soon after the elections in the north. And the Turkish side is ready to go to the extra mile to make a lasting settlement possible before the end of this year. But ultimately, it takes two to tango. And what is needed for a settlement is true political will. If Greek Cypriot side and the Greece show a similarly strong political will, there is no reason why a settlement cannot be reached by the end of this year. As always, the active involvement of the US will be important in the critical period ahead. Second, the Turkish-Armenian relations. We have been working since 2009 to overcome the division between these two ancient peoples. Two people who for centuries coexisted in peace and harmony. Let me underline this point. Turkey shares the suffering of Armenians. We try with patience and resolve to establish empathy between two peoples. We continue to believe that we can build a peaceful common future only through dialogue. In this context, our President's message last year on the events of 1915 was a historic step. The recent statement of our Prime Minister in January, was another step forward representing our humane perspective. And a couple of hours ago, Prime Minister Davutoğlu extended his condolences to the Ottoman Armenians who lost their lives under the tragic circumstances of World War I. And he also announced that in parallel to the remembrance ceremonies around the world, a ceremony will also be held at Armenian Patriarchy in Istanbul on 24th of April. This is another step of historic significance. And we will continue on this path. And we will continue to work for a framework that both addresses the historic aspects of the problem and also helps solve the Nagorno-Karabakh issue. Dear guests, ladies and gentlemen, geography is destiny. And today we stand at the crossroads for the region. We in Turkey believe in the promise of our region and its peoples. We are willing and able to stand up to the existing challenges. And so is the United States. the history of Turkish-American relations is full of success stories we wrote by working together. Our past achievements in Afghanistan, in the Balkans, and elsewhere is testimony to what we can do together in the future. That is what gives me the confidence to say that Turkey and the United States will continue to work as close partners. Because by working together, we have a better chance of creating a bright future we imagine for the Middle East. Thank you very much. Can I answer the questions, if you don't mind?
Yes, please. He's going to stay here, Ed, so it'll be okay.
For technical reasons, it's better.
No, it's much better for the vision.
Okay. Good.
I want to thank the Foreign Minister for those remarks. We're going to take questions, and we will do it in the normal way that we do things here, which is raise your hand. I'll call on several questioners. We'll take several questions together. The Foreign Minister has been kind enough to stay to address those questions. Please, again, there will be many people who want to ask questions, so make your question very brief and also in the form of a question, please. And also, please introduce yourself before you start. So let's start with these three right here in this row, and then Michael. Barbara? Yeah.
Thanks, George. Barbara Slavin from the Atlantic Council and allmonitor.com. Mr. Minister, how do you square your views with those of the Saudis, particularly when it comes to an issue like Yemen? Your Prime Minister was recently in Iran. You've called for a political solution there. But you are also, I believe, supporting the Saudi effort, which is now bombing the country with no apparent result. So how do you bring people to the table here? And if I may also ask another question, is Turkey taking a position on the direct supply of weapons to the Kurds in Iraq? Thanks.
Kurds in where?
In Iraq. So hold that question for 1 second and then pass it here. No, we'll start with you, Michael, after the next. Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead, Michael.
Michael Gordon, New York Times. On a different subject, sir, you mentioned the negotiations with Iran. The details aren't known, but the basic principles are known. It will extend breakout time to a year for a period of 10 years, but breakout time will shrink after that. No facilities will be closed, and Iran will be allowed to do research and development on centrifuges. What is Turkey's position on this agreement, since the main elements are known? And are there any circumstances in which Turkey would feel that it should pursue the development of nuclear technology on its own as a precaution against an Iranian breakout? What would those circumstances be? Thank you.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, the situation is Yemen is a concern for all of us. And Houthis took the control of the whole country. And democratically elected president had to leave the country due to the security concerns. Of course, due to the invitation of the legitimate president, Saudi Arabia-led GCC countries had the operation. And this operation became legitimate. And in principle, we supported this operation. And we announced that we can, if they need, we can support, we can give them logistic support and intelligence as well. But so far, we haven't received any demand from the